The phone buzzed in my pocket, slicing through the humid air of the midday sun as I stepped outside the makeshift clinic. My shirt clung to my back with sweat, and the smell of dry earth and blooming jasmine drifted on the breeze. I was halfway through my volunteer rotation in a small rural village, miles from any real comfort, but exactly where I wanted to be, helping focusing breathing. Then I saw the name on the screen. Richard. My breath caught in my throat. I hadn't spoken to my stepfather in months. Truthfully, I preferred it that way. Every conversation with him was either a manipulation, a guilt trip, or a thinly veiled request for money. I nearly declined the call, but curiosity, or maybe the naive hope that something had changed, made me answer. Hello, I said flatly, bracing myself. Catherine, he said far too cheerfully. Just thought you'd want to know I sold the mountain cabin. My stomach dropped. For a second, I thought I'd misheard him. What I sold it, he repeated like it was no big deal. Don't look so shocked. It's for the greater good, mine. Obviously, he added, with a chuckle, so smug it made my skin crawl. That was the moment something inside me shifted. My name is Catherine Daniels, and for as long as I can remember, Richard has been the wedge that fractured my sense of family. My mum married him when I was 15. He swept in with his easy charm and polished jokes, promising stability after years of struggle. But I saw through him early. Beneath the charisma was a man who knew how to take and never how to give. And now, he'd sold the one place I considered mine. That cabin wasn't yours to sell, I said, my voice trembling with fury. Relax, he said as if I were overreacting. You're always jetting off to some humanitarian thing. What's the point of keeping a cabin you're never in? It helped me clear some debts. You'll thank me later. I'll thank you when hell freezes over. I snapped and hung up before he could say another word. I stared at the dry, cracked ground beneath my feet, trying to steady my breath. My sanctuary sold like some forgotten trinket. The cabin wasn't just a vacation spot. It was home. It was the place where my mother and I used to spend summers catching fireflies, cooking over open flames, laughing until our stomachs hurt. After she passed, it became my safe haven, my emotional anchor in a world that never stopped shifting. And Richard, he treated it like a poker chip in one of his bottomless games of debt and damage. But what Richard didn't know, what I didn't tell him, is that he couldn't legally sell the cabin at all. Years ago, my best friend Laura and I had bought it together. We were both fresh out of college, both dreaming of a quiet escape from the chaos of our lives. We poured our savings into it, signed every paper together, and made sure our co-ownership agreement required both of our signatures for any sale. That call had been a warning shot. He thought he could get away with it, but he had no idea who he was dealing with now. I wasn't the scared teenager he once scolded and controlled. I was a grown woman with a spine, a strategy, and the law on my side. I sat down on the edge of my cot, the heat of the day wrapping around me like a second skin, and called Laura. Hey, Kathy, she answered upbeat as always. How's the clinic? He sold the cabin, I blurted out. There was silence. He what, Richard? He sold it. Or thinks he did. I heard her shift on the other end, all trace of cheer gone. He doesn't have the authority. Our contract. Exactly, I cut in. I am finishing up here in a few days. When I'm back, we're going to fix this. But can you start pulling the documents now? I want to be ready. You got it, she said. No hesitation. We'll handle this. Together. I hung up and let the silence settle over me. The weight of betrayal still stung, but beneath it something else was growing. A quiet, focused rage. Richard thought I was too far away to fight back. He thought I was still the girl who stayed silent out of fear. He was about to find out I'd learned how to fight with truth, with strength, and with the power of someone who's had enough. The next few days were a blur. I stayed focused on my work at the clinic, tending to patients, organising supplies, checking in with the local nurses. But no matter how busy I kept myself, Richard's voice echoed in the back of my mind. That smug, dismissive tone, that casual disregard for something sacred to me. He thought he'd won, but he'd forgotten who I was now. Late one evening, after the final patient had left and the sun had dipped low behind the hills, I pulled out my worn leather journal. I always brought it with me on assignments. Writing helped me clear the fog, sort out the tangle of thoughts in my head. As the candle on the table flickered, I began to write about the first time I saw the cabin as a child, nestled in the trees like something out of a fairy tale. About the summer nights spent there with my mum before she remarried, about the long hikes with Laura, and the repairs we made ourselves, painting the walls, restoring the stone fireplace, planting lavender by the porch. It wasn't just wood and nails. It was memory. It was identity. And Richard thought he could sell it for quick cash. The next morning, Laura called. Her voice was brisk and purposeful, the way it always was when she slipped into legal mode. I went through the co-ownership agreement, she said. You were absolutely right. He doesn't have a legal leg to stand on. The document clearly states that neither of us can sell or transfer ownership without written notarized consent from the other. The sale is invalid. Relief swept through me, but it was short-lived. Do we know who he sold it to? I asked, already dreading the answer. Not yet, she replied, flipping through something on her end. I pulled the county records and so far, there's no official transfer, which tells me one thing: he probably tried to do it under the table. Of course he did. It was classic Richard. Always looking for loopholes, always thinking he was the smartest person in the room. What's our move? I asked. Well, Laura said we have options. We can confront him directly, or we can go through legal channels. Either way, we're covered. But knowing him, he'll try to spin the story, make himself the victim. I know, I said, but I want to be ready. We agreed to gather everything, every text, every document, every bank record that could show proof of ownership. Laura would speak to a lawyer, and I'd return home in a few days to face Richard directly. But I wouldn't confront him with rage. No, he thrived on chaos and drama. He expected me to explode. This time I'd use something he never saw coming: strategy. That night I sat on the edge of my cot again, watching the candlelight dance across the wall. The village was quiet, the night air cool and still. I thought about how far I'd come since the years I used to dread coming home, when Richard's presence turned every family dinner into a minefield. I thought about my mum too, how she'd often stood quietly by his side, choosing peace over confrontation. But I wasn't her. Not anymore. When I got home, I wouldn't just reclaim my property. I would reclaim my voice. When I finally returned home, the first thing I noticed was the quiet. The cabin, my cabin, always greeted me with peace, but this time the stillness felt different, heavier. The silence wasn't welcoming, it was expectant, like the house itself knew what had happened in my absence. I dropped my bags inside the door. The plants were wilted, the air was stale. Mail had piled up beneath the slot, and the refrigerator hummed emptily, its light blinking like a tired eye. I stood in the middle of the room for a moment, taking it all in. The sense of violation was overwhelming, and then right on cue my phone buzzed. Richard! I nearly let it go to voicemail, but something inside me stirred. This time I wasn't going to avoid him. This time I was ready. Well, well, if it isn't my globe-trotting stepdaughter, he said, voice dripping with fake warmth. Back to reality, huh? What do you want, Richard? I asked flatly, not rising to his bait. Oh, just checking in, he said smugly. Wanted to make sure you weren't too bent out of shape over the whole cabin thing. I mean, it's done. No point crying over spilt milk. My fingers curled into a fist. Funny you should say that, I said coolly. Because Laura and I pulled the ownership records. And guess what? There's been no official sale. That's because you can't sell what doesn't belong to you. There was a beat of silence. Just long enough for me to know I'd hit him where it hurt. That's ridiculous, he snapped, his tone suddenly sharp. The buyer paid cash. Paperwork's done. It's a done deal. No, I replied evenly. It's not. The co-ownership agreement is legally binding. Without Laura's consent, your so-called sale is void. His brittle laugh crackled over the line. You think you're so smart, don't you? Always the perfect daughter. Always needing to control everything. My heart pounded, but I didn't flinch. You don't know what I've been dealing with, he growled. I did what I had to do. No, I said firmly, the words coming like ice. You stole from me. You betrayed my trust. And now you're facing the consequences. He started to argue, but I cut him off. If you have anything else to say, take it up with my lawyer. I ended the call. And for the first time since he had crossed that line, I felt like I was the one in control. The next morning, with my laptop open and Laura's emails in front of me, I reviewed everything again. The co-ownership agreement, our emails and messages confirming our mutual ownership, and screenshots of Richard's attempts to bypass us both. It was all there, neatly documented, legally damning. And then a knock. I opened the door. Richard, wearing that same smug expression, like he'd just come to explain away a simple misunderstanding. Mind if I come in? He asked, but he didn't wait for an answer. He strolled inside like he owned the place. I folded my arms, watching him take a seat, like this was still his game. What do you want? I asked, ice in my voice. He launched into his usual routine condescension laced with guilt tripping. I know you're upset, he said, but you have to understand. I was desperate. The people I owed money to, they weren't exactly patient. And you thought stealing my property was the answer. I didn't steal it, he said with a shrug. I borrowed it. I was going to make the money back. I would have paid you back every penny. I laughed bitterly. That's your plan. Luck, you've been gambling for years, Richard. It never ends well. Why would this time be different? His bravado faltered just a little. But then he leaned forward, tone sharp. It's just a cabin, Catherine. You're not even here most of the time. Why not let someone else use it? Because it's mine, I said. It's Laura's and mine. You don't get to decide what matters to me. And legally, your little stunt means nothing. That sale is void and you know it. His face darkened. You wouldn't really go to the police, he said. You wouldn't ruin your own stepfather like that. I met his gaze, calm and unmoving. Try me. For a moment there was silence. Then he stood up, muttering under his breath, and stormed out, slamming the door behind him. I sat down slowly, heart pounding. But beneath the adrenaline, I felt something else too, a long overdue sense of power, of resolve. He wasn't going to get away with this, not this time. After Richard's stormy exit, I called Laura. He showed up at my house, I said, pacing my living room, tried to spin it like he borrowed the cabin to pay off debts, as if that made it any better. Laura scoffed on the other end. Borrowed? Does he even hear himself? What did you tell him? I told him the sale was invalid, that if he kept pushing, I'd go to the authorities. Good, she said firmly. Let him sweat. We've got the law on our side. Her voice steadied me. That's what Laura always did, grounded me when my emotions started to spiral. I've already contacted a lawyer, she continued. We're drafting a formal cease and desist. If he tries to mess with this again or contacts the buyer, we'll have everything in writing. Thank you, I said, sinking into a chair. Honestly, I don't know what I'd do without you. You'd figure it out, she said warmly. But you're not alone in this. We're in it together. The next few days, I poured myself into the task at hand. I documented everything, our co-ownership agreement, years of email correspondence, text messages from Richard, receipts from cabin maintenance, all of it. Every detail became a piece of evidence. Then I called the real estate agent Richard had used. Her voice, tense and apologetic, gave me even more to work with. Look, she said quickly, I didn't know the full situation. Richard told me he had permission to sell. If I'd known the property had two owners, I never would have touched it. I'm not looking to cause trouble for you, I said. But I need your help. Can you confirm he signed the paperwork alone? Yes. And the buyer hasn't paid in full yet. I flagged the transaction as suspicious when things felt off. I can send you everything. That would help a lot, I said, jotting her info down. The moment I ended the call, I felt a shift like a wheel locking into place. I wasn't just reacting anymore. I was moving forward with purpose. That night, Laura called again. The letter's ready, she said. We'll send it tomorrow. If Richard tries to escalate, we'll escalate harder. I smiled, the first real one in days. He thought I'd let this go. He really doesn't know me at all. The next morning, the cease and desist letter went out. It was sharp, professional, and legally airtight. Any further attempts to claim ownership or harass us or the buyer would lead to immediate legal action. And for the first time in this entire nightmare, I felt it. Control. Later that day, the real estate agent emailed me Richard's forged documents. His signature sat there bold and smug. I stared at it for a moment, then filed it with the rest of the case. That evening, I got the call. Miss Daniels, said Detective Miller, his tone calm but firm. We've reviewed your documents and Miss Langley's testimony. Based on what we've seen, we're prepared to open a formal investigation into Mr. Green's actions. Would you like to proceed? Yes, I said without hesitation. I want him held accountable. Understood, he replied. We'll start by contacting the buyer and warning them. If Mr. Green interferes further, we'll consider criminal charges. When I hung up, I exhaled deep and slow. I wasn't just protecting my property anymore. I was standing up to years of manipulation, to being walked over, to silence. The wheel was turning, and this time it was moving in my direction. 2 days later, my phone rang. It was Richard. His voice was laced with anger, but beneath it I heard something else, desperation. Do you have any idea what you've done, Catherine? He barked. You're ruining everything. I stayed calm. No, Richard. I'm protecting what's mine. You did this to yourself. You've always been so ungrateful, he snapped. I stepped in when your mom couldn't handle things. And this is how you repay me. I let out a quiet, bitter laugh. You didn't step in. You took over. You manipulated. You lied. You used people to get what you wanted. And now you face the consequences. He tried to cut me off, but I stopped him cold. If you have anything else to say, take it up with my lawyer. I hung up and leaned back in my chair. My hands were shaking, but inside I felt steadier than ever. For the first time in years, I wasn't letting him guilt me. I wasn't playing the good stepdaughter or the peacekeeper. I was setting the rules. 2 more days passed before I got another call. Detective Miller again. Miss Daniels. He said, we've spoken with the buyer. They had no idea about the co-ownership agreement and are withdrawing from the transaction. The sale is officially void. Relief flooded through me. Thank you. That's amazing. The cabin remains under your and Miss Langley's ownership. However, he added, we will keep the case open to address your stepfather's fraudulent actions. Would you like to press charges? I paused for just a moment. Then I said it clearly. Yes, I want him held accountable. Understood, he said. We'll proceed accordingly. After the call, I sat on the couch and stared at the quiet stillness of my home. It had been weeks of chaos, confrontation, and emotional storms. But now the air felt different, lighter. The cabin was safe. The law was on my side. Richard's manipulations were unraveling in the light of truth. That afternoon I called Laura. The buyer backed out, I told her. The cabin's ours again. She let out a whoop on the other end. That's a huge win. But what about Richard? The investigation is moving forward, I said. They're not letting it slide. Good, she said. It's about time someone stood up to him. Her words stuck with me. For so long I'd swallowed my anger, convinced myself that keeping peace was more important than being right. But this time I had fought back. And it wasn't just about Richard. It was about every time I had let guilt keep me small. That evening, I returned to the cabin for the first time since coming home. I stepped inside and closed the door behind me. The familiar scent of wood, the soft creak of the floorboards, the stillness of the mountain air. It was all there, untouched, waiting. And so was I. I lit a fire, wrapped myself in the blanket my mum had made, and sat on the couch staring into the flames. I let the silence wash over me, not the silence of avoidance, but the silence of peace. This wasn't just a legal win, it was a personal one, and I was finally starting to feel whole again. A week later, Detective Miller called again. This time his tone carried finality. "Miss Daniels," he began, "I wanted to let you know that your stepfather has been formally charged with fraudulent misrepresentation and attempted theft of property. He's scheduled to appear in court next month. Based on the documentation you and Miss Langley provided, the case is strong." Hearing those words, "formally charged," hit me harder than I expected. A mix of emotions welled up: relief, validation, even a strange quiet sadness. "Thank you," I said sincerely, "for everything. You handled this with strength," he told me. "It's not easy to stand up to family, but you did the right thing." After the call, I sat in silence, letting it all settle. Richard had always been there, looming like a storm cloud in the corners of my life, unpredictable and often overpowering. And now he was finally being held accountable. I was no longer a background character in his story. I had drawn a line, and this time it held. That weekend, Laura came up to the cabin. She brought a bottle of red wine and a box of pastries from our favourite bakery in town. We sat out on the porch, the mountains stretching into the distance, the air crisp with the scent of pine and soil. The sun dipped behind the trees, casting long shadows that felt like closure rather than threat. "To justice," she said, raising her glass. "And to not letting anyone push us around ever again," I added. We clinked glasses and drank, laughing quietly at how absurd everything had been and how close I'd come to losing the very thing that grounded me. As the sky turned from orange to deep blue, I realized how much this cabin had come to represent. Not just a retreat, not just a place to rest, but a declaration of what I valued, of who I was willing to be. A woman who doesn't bend when she knows she's right. A woman who defends her peace, even if it means standing alone. "You know," Laura said, pulling her legs up on the chair, "this place has always felt like more than just a house. It's like it holds the parts of us we forget to protect when the world gets loud." I nodded. It reminded me of who I was when I was too tired to remember. Later that night, I stayed up long after Laura had gone to sleep. I sat by the fireplace, a warm cup of tea in hand, and listened to the silence. Not a lonely silence this time. It was full of presence, full of memory, full of power. For the first time in a very long time, I felt untouchable, not because nothing could hurt me, but because I had finally chosen to stop giving away my strength. Richard had taken a lot from me over the years, but he wouldn't take this. Not the cabin, not my dignity, not my future. And as the fire flickered low, I knew I had already taken it all back. In the weeks that followed, life began to settle into a new, quieter rhythm. The courtroom dates were scheduled. The investigation was moving forward. But for me, the real shift had already happened. The cabin, once shadowed by Richard's manipulation, had become my sanctuary again. Each time I stepped onto the porch, every creak of the floorboards under my feet reminded me of what I'd fought for. Not just ownership of a house, but ownership of myself, my choices, my peace. I didn't hear much from Richard after the charges were filed. My mother called once, her voice low and cautious. "You know how he gets, Catherine," she murmured, the same old excuse worn thin. "I do," I replied gently but firmly. "And that's exactly why I had to do this." She didn't argue. For the first time in years, there was no guilt, no plea for reconciliation. Just silence, and then finally, "I hope you find peace." "I already have," I said, and I meant it. Laura and I spent the next few weekends fixing up the cabin. We painted the porch, planted wildflowers along the edge of the yard, and patched up a leak on the roof that had been bugging us for years. With every brushstroke, with every nail hammered in, I felt like I was rebuilding more than just the space. I was restoring a version of myself that had gotten buried beneath years of emotional noise. One evening, as we watched the sun dip behind the mountain peaks, Laura turned to me. So, what's next for you, Kathy? She asked with a quiet smile. You faced him, taken back the cabin. What's the next chapter? I didn't even hesitate. I keep doing what I love, I said. Volunteering, traveling, living life on my terms. But this time, I won't let anyone else tell me how to live it. She raised her glass. To that, I echoed. In the days that followed, I found myself reflecting on everything this journey had taught me. For so long, I'd let Richard's voice cloud my judgment, let his needs, his chaos define the terms of my silence. But not anymore. I'd realized that strength doesn't always roar. Sometimes it's just the quiet resolve to say no, to draw a boundary and hold it, to look at someone who's taken too much for too long and say, not anymore. The cabin had once been a place I retreated to. Now it was a place I returned to, not to escape, but to remember who I am. One evening, as dusk settled over the mountains, I stood on the porch watching the stars begin to blink to life overhead. The air smelled of pine and promise, and for the first time in years, I felt something I hadn't known I was missing. Peace. Real, lasting peace. Richard may have tried to take something sacred from me, but in the end, what he gave me without meaning to was something far more powerful. He gave me the push I needed to finally take my life back. And standing there beneath the open sky, I knew I was exactly where I was meant to be. Home, at last. In the end, betrayal may break us, but it also builds us. Stronger, smarter, unstoppable. Thank you for watching Revenge Files, where every story reveals the truth behind the lies. Subscribe for more, share your thoughts below, and remember, the best revenge is living without fear. See you in the next episode.